Oh, it's always amazing when you get to see the progression of a project and once it gets to this point, right, where you're starting to make parts and making prototypes.
Yeah. But it's a long road to get there.
It is, and maybe we should talk more about, how it all starts.
We talk a lot about how much time we've spent over the years out in the field, doing design research and learning about products and how people use them and understanding, all the different users, especially in medical devices, what they need, what their pain points are, et cetera.
That's right.
And as important as we know that is, and we've seen successes based on that, every once in a while I'm always surprised by pushback from our clients.
Yeah.
Sometimes the uninformed, sometimes even the very informed clients. I'm curious whether you've had the same experience. I'll throw a couple of example things that I've heard before and see if you've heard the same thing. Yeah. How about this one? I already know what we need.
Oh yes, that's one of the classics, right? Because what happens, of course, is clients come to us. They think of us as a product development company, so they're going to CAD something up, and then they're going to make some parts such as these, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to try them out, and I'm going to like them, and then we'll just turn it into a product, right? But the reality of the situation is everything starts with a really solid set of requirements, which actually are fed in by a lot of research that starts at the beginning. And usually the research comes from two streams. There's that sort of technology development, which isn't really what we're talking about here today. And the other one is really that user research, that contextual research, right? The field input that goes into this. Right. So, and that is often a real challenge to get into, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But I've had a client before, for example, I'm thinking of one just to mind where I've got, I did a whole bunch of research, so we're good. I think I know exactly what we need from a user requirements perspective. I'm like, oh, that's great. I would love to see that. And you get a one-page report, and it's mostly from going around a doctor's office and getting some of that feedback from the folks that work in that office. And that's great. It's a data point in time. But ultimately, if we want this to be a broadly successful device, we really need to crowdsource this a little bit furthermore.
Right. So that's why the team needs to be out there, getting a look for themselves, asking maybe some unbiased respondents, if you will, like what their opinions are and what's actually really going down.
That's a good one too, right? Which is there's like that classical saying where those engineers, you just need to slide pizzas under the door and they're just busy doing their thing, in these hidden rooms. But in reality, the best experience that I've had is bringing engineers along on a lot of these research trips.
Shocking how few of them have been out in the field to actually see it in action, isn't it?
Yeah, and the interest in doing so, right? Mm-hmm. And it makes complete sense. If you think if you're a client spending a lot of money on this development, you really want to make sure that your design team, which are really, they speak for you in terms of how successful this product will be, have as much of that knowledge as possible, and also have had that first-hand experience, right? Sure. Seeing it unfold, seeing how it's used, it's super important.
So here's another one for you. Why are we paying you to go out and become experts?
Yeah. Oh yes, that's probably my favorite one, right? Where it's one of those things where there's a misunderstanding of the use of the word expert, really, in this particular case. And this is a situation where often what happens is our clients will think that, oh, you've got this whole contextual inquiry thing or this whole sort of front-end work that you want to do. It's a ton of money, and I'm really just paying you to learn about the use of the use of this device or being this particular person, like this particular type of user. And in fact, I always say, okay, look, you're not paying me to actually be an expert user of this device. If I was an expert user of that device, I'd be a surgeon. I wouldn't be here. I'd be somewhere else, just saving people's lives and doing surgeries and what have you, right? So that is not what we're talking about here. In fact, I already am an expert at cultivating that information that we will then use to convert into meaningful requirements that will make you successful as an entrepreneur, or as a company, and will make your product successful. But what we need to know is really how those devices are used in context. What is the daily life of that person like? It's impossible for any one human to know everything there is to know about every type of different discipline within the medical field, or any field for that matter. And I think that's that delineation that's often really difficult to separate. What you're doing is you're making an investment in your product to make sure that the team that you've entrusted to make it successful have as much base knowledge as they can possibly have before they go into the development of the system.
So well said. Where were you the other 50 times somebody has asked that? I'm gonna have them call you next time they ask me those stupid questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.